Oncers, it's that time again. It's time for another Once Upon a Time review. If you haven't seen the latest episode, go ahead and watch that on watchabc.com before you watch this review, because I'm going to be talking about spoilers. So that's your only warning. Let's jump into it. This episode was largely Regina Evil Queen centric, with a smattering of Killian in there. We get the Evil Queen teaming up with Bad Robin for a short time to find the Shears of Destiny. They end up digging them up out of a hole in the graveyard. And she intends to use them to clip her, to separate herself from Regina so that Regina can't, so that they can finally duke it out, so to speak. And she actually succeeds in doing that. So they have this little fight scene with some swords and going all out. Instead of using magic, it's a little weird for them to use swords instead of magic. I mean, they used magic towards the end, but why start off with swords if you're both, supreme witches and whatnot? So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. We find out that the Evil Queen hates herself more than anybody. In the past, they show the Evil Queen with her dad, and he leads her to the arrow of Cupid's arrow, and she ends up changing it for, instead of showing her the person that she loves the most, it shows her the person she hates the most. That's how we find out that she actually hates herself the most. As they fight, Regina ends up managing to pin the Evil Queen against the wall using magic, and rips out her heart. But before she can actually crush it, she remembers this fact that they hated themselves the most, and instead pulls out her own heart, touches them together, and allows them to meld together. Sharing with her some of the love that she feels and taking away some of the evilness, and then puts the heart back in. That's as close as we're ever going to get to her accepting the Evil Queen back into herself, and I guess in a way that kind of makes more sense than her actually fully self-absorbing her in. So, I mean, I guess that works. I don't know, it was a little bit cheesy, because right after that they share a really, really awkward hug, and then they have an awkward talk about, well, what are you going to do now? You deserve, to love, and maybe we can help you with that, and all this other stuff. It's really awkward after the fact. But Henry is an awesome kid and ends up writing her a fresh start somewhere where she meets Bad Robin. So you got the Evil Queen and Bad Robin getting together probably, but we'll never see them again most likely. With Killian, we have him continuing to suffer from his guilt. He talks to Captain Nemo from the Nautilus, and he's about to set sail again. And tries to give Killian advice on just tell him what's going on, and they can give them a chance to forgive you and whatnot. And he doesn't take it, of course. He ends up using one of the dream catchers to see the memory of him stabbing David's dad, and Emma walks in on it. It seems as though he was trying to trap the memory in there and then throw it into the fire, and she seemed to stop him before that happened. And she gives him the ring back and pretty much tells him, stop doing this to yourself, give us the chance to forgive you, kind of a thing. Pretty much the same thing Nemo said. And he thinks he needs to join the Nautilus crew on their voyage to try and find the man that Emma fell in love with, that she deserves. Which just makes me think, I swear, that the people who make this show are almost as bad as George R.R. Martin, because they're killing all of my OTPs. Like, I swear to God, they're killing me. They're killing me! But Killian has a change of heart after meeting with Snow White. Snow White tells him, the Evil Queen got a happy ending, and I'm so glad that you're with Emma and that you guys are going to get married and all this other stuff. And he has a change of heart, tells Nemo he's not going to go, and then all of a sudden they start submerging, and Gideon pops in and is like, well, I've got plans, and you can't be in Storybrooke for them to happen. So Gideon being a right little shit, you know, at the very end. So Killian's trapped on the Nautilus for now. We'll see what happens. Emma's looking all distraught because she couldn't find him and he never came home. So I think she feels like he ran away, which is what his original plan was. All in all, I'm going to give the episode a B minus. There was just too much awkwardness with the storyline with the Evil Queen and Regina. I'm glad that Regina is going to be back to being both within one person. So that's good. It's a shame that Bad Robin didn't turn out to be good for her. I still wish there was a way to bring back Robin. But hopefully something else good happens for her. Killian being stuck on the Nautilus sucks because that's going to keep that OTP apart for who knows how long. And Gideon being a little angsty little sucker at the very end is just, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so I'm giving it a B minus. It's not the best of episodes, but definitely not the worst I've seen. With that said, if you like this review, go ahead and click that little button down there that says subscribe and the little bell next to it so you get notified whenever I post a new video. That way you know to come back. Let me know what you thought of the episode down below. I love talking about my favorite show. So let's get a conversation started. And with that, later geeks.